I am really glad to have this conversation, and I think that there's going to be a lot of value and inspiration that will come from it, because I've been watching your journey extremely closely over the years, and I think it's safe to say that if you were an MC, I feel like your name should be Level Up. because that's literally what you have done over the years. Definitely, like Jan, Level Up Genesis. So in natural form, I think it would be helpful to just start literally from the beginning.
Yeah.
So where did the journey start? Even before that, where did the interest start?
Boy, do you know what, Ken? It's like it's mad, and do you know? I always love talking to you about it, because I feel like you have literally, like, there's probably maybe 2-3 people who I'd say have seen the journey right from the start, like, and I mean before I even knew I wanted to get into TV directing, because the reality is there was never, growing up, there was never any intention to do anything anywhere near this.
Yeah.
I think if anything, like growing up, obviously Jazz. I thought he was the one with it. He was going to be the one in entertainment more than anything.
And Jazz is your brother.
Jazz, my brother, yeah. So I used to just support him. Like, he was obviously doing music, he used to rap, he used to MC. He was the MC. He was the MC. And I was just trying to help him level up every time. So whether it was helping his CD covers, managing him, take him to the studio, take him to shows. And then I think for one of my birthdays, I got a little camcorder. And I loved the idea of the camcorder and being able to film it. And literally, Jazz was the person who was always there, available and doing something. So I'd film him in the studio, writing music. When he does his performances, I'll go on stage and I just started filming it and editing it. I developed an interest in, but more just because this is what Jazz was doing, and now we can watch it back.
Yeah.
I didn't really see it as a kind of thing for me. And alongside that, we play for the same football team. So as we grew up, we were playing kind of non-league football, Sunday stuff, and I got an injury, and so
everyone got an injury.
Everyone, listen, like Chelsea wanted me, but I got injured. Otherwise, I'd have been a pro. I got an ankle injury. I couldn't play for 18 months. Like full transparency, I was never going to be a pro footballer. No way. Like I wasn't bad. I was pretty good, but I was never good enough to be anywhere near pro. Jazz more so. But either way, I enjoyed it, and I enjoyed being part of the team. I enjoyed having an influence in the dressing room and that kind of thing. And even when I was injured, I brought the camcorder, and I thought, listen, I'm gonna follow the journey. And then Jazz got injured as well, so we were both injured at the same time, but both quite key parts of the team. So we still wanted to go along to the games and be involved in it and watch the team and support the team. So I said, what I'll do is I'll bring the camcorder. You kind of like host it, and we'll do like a commentary on what's going on. So we'll get in the car. He'll kind of say, yes, we're on the game, we're on our road to the game, this is what the fixture is. I'll say, Jazz, tell me what you think the team's going to be. We'll do a prediction, and then we'll go to the game, I'll film the dressing room team talk, then I'll film the match. Then after it, I'll go out and I'll edit the game, and I'll put one of Jazz's tracks as the soundtrack behind it. So it was the kind of promoting his music at the same time. And even then, I wasn't saying I want to be in film and that kind of stuff, but people did used to joke, oh, you're going to be on Sky Sports News in the future, you're going to be on this, you're going to be in that.
Mad.
Literally, there's comments on Facebook from like 2008 where people saying, starts off, we used to call it Soul Soldier TV, that was Jazz's name, that was Jazz's MC name, Soul Soldier TV. It goes first Soul Soldier TV, then Sky Sports. So I remember a comment, literally from 2008. I finished school, finished university. Finished school, finished sixth form college. Go to university, do computer and network technology. Managed to get into media, technology, and digital broadcast. That was the course I did. And long story short, I managed to get an internship at Bloomberg when I finished university.
Got you.
The internship was a broadcast operations internship.
And that means.
So what that was, it was a foundation of the fundamentals of broadcast television. So you learn all of the key elements that are required for broadcast television to work, from how does video get from A to B? How does it get from the studio in London to all of these houses all over the world? What is the process that needs to happen? When I make a video in New York, and it's going to be played out in London, how does that data get transferred? Video intakes, feeds, and master control.
It's very interesting.
Where does it come from when we're transmitting? So we're in the London office, so you learn vision mixing, you learn sound, you learn lighting, and each day you're doing a slightly different thing, and you'd work on shifts. So it just meant every day I was learning all of the elements and I was building a really solid foundation of it. And I think what was particularly useful was it wasn't all English. So you had Bloomberg, Italy, Spain, France, Germany. You had the US, you had the Asian, and you'd work across all of those channels. You're working with different teams. Every team has a different way of working, even culturally. They have different ways of working.
What about language barrier?
Language, like you have to kind of like deal with that language barrier. Naturally, like the headquarters is in London, so there's an element within all the productions where they need to speak English, but naturally their mother tongue is going to be their local
dialect.
So if you're working with Bloomberg Germany and the presenter and producer are talking to each other, they're going to be talking in German. When the presenter's reading, she's talking in German. All of the script is in German.
So what happens as an English-speaking person?
So as an English-speaking person, you learn to read auto cue. You look for the prompts, which are kind of universal, for prompts for when videos come in, when graphics come in. But then you start to listen to the tone and the rhythm of how presenters read, and you can feel when a VT is going to come, when they're about to stop, when they're slowing down, when they're about to wrap up an interview. So in interviews, when you can never be sure, there can't be a prompt for now it stopped. You've got to really listen to the tone, and then you start to pick up. Okay, this is coming to an end. Stand by.
Yeah.
And then you get ready for the. So you really start to, and it's the kind of thing it's difficult to learn unless you're doing it, unless you're in and around it. But you start to do that, and I managed to kind of get a full-time position quite quickly. Within like it was a 10-week internship, but within 2 weeks I was off the full-time position. I just showed a lot of appetite to like ask every single person. So many questions, sound like and just learn. It was like for me it was like walking into. I've always said it was like how I'd imagine if I walked into a space station.
As you were describing what the situation is like, I thought this sounds like aeronautics.
Yeah.
It sounds like getting a plane off the ground and on the moon.
That literally, like when you walk into it for the first time, because even with the course I did, media technology and digital broadcast, I'd never seen a gallery. I'd never seen a vision mixer. I'd never had to touch a light like a TV light or even camera. We didn't do any work like that. We got some fundamentals. We learned some theory, and we did a bit of editing.
Got you.
But we never did any production. It wasn't a film production course or a TV production course.
Yeah.
So then all of a sudden you walk into this building, and it's got 8 floors. There's thousands of people there, and you've got all these different channels. You're hearing Spanish, French, German, all these different languages. Everything's just going. Everything's going smooth, and it just seems like the pace is 100 miles an hour.
Yeah.
Everybody knows exactly what they're doing.
And
it's daunting, and it all just seems to be working. Some people are shouting, and like some people say like people are running, they break, and you don't fully understand what's going on. It just seems like the energy is just crazy. And I was like, nah, this is mad. And but yeah, I just dived in, and managed to get that position. So it was a broadcast technical operator, and then within a couple of years, I put myself forward for an in-house director position. Managed to get an in-house director position, and I guess from the first phase of my career, I guess the rest is history. After that, I was in-house and I was directing 3 hours a day, 5 days a week, all year round.
I remember what you said previously about your experience in the football space, and I see like an immediate parallel between like football culture and the culture in that room. The shouting, everything's going on all at the same time. So I think there's probably a part of you that was kind of used to like the controlled chaos of that room based on your previous experience being on the pitch, which I find quite interesting.
It's funny. Like I love football. I love sport. It's my biggest. I guess passion, hobby. Like just being engaged in it. I've been involved in football since I was 4, and anybody who knows me knows that a lot of the time I will liken most things to football. To that kind of culture, like and for me it was like everybody. There's this chaos, but everyone knows their position.
Yes.
Everyone knows
like
their
pitch.
role. Yeah. So they just like in football. It's not. We're not even just talking about the 11 on the pitch. You're talking about the physio. You're talking about the coach. You're talking about the chairman of the club.
Yeah.
Because you've got execs who aren't involved in the actual. Who aren't necessarily involved in the actual run of the show itself.
Yeah.
But they are responsible for it. And just like whether it's the manager or the owner of the club is, and ultimately you're reporting to that person. But you've got someone who's kind of like a level below who's actually running it on the ground, like the actual manager. Yeah. But then you've got someone who's actually in it, like whether it's your camera lead, who's your captain, or so however you want to look at it. And I guess I didn't really necessarily put the two together at the time, but the more I look back at it, and even as I've gone through my career and I've done it in different stages, I really see the parallels in that.
Definitely. It was very clear to me just now. I think what would also be where that kind of leads you. So Bloomberg, you naturally now don't work at Bloomberg. So what did that transition look like? If you could give kind of key highlights and key moments between now and we'll kind of piggyback into, I want to say like 2020. So maybe 5 years.
Okay. So I got made redundant in 2013 at Bloomberg, which, if I'm honest with you, it was a bit of a shock.
Yeah.
Because
was that your first ever redundancy ever in your career?
Yeah, it was my first ever job up from uni. I held on to the job throughout 7 years, 7.5 years. I progressed, so I had a few promotions. I progressed, and I felt like I was doing really well. The feedback within the company, I was doing really well. But what they'd done is they'd essentially shut down all of broadcast operations in London.
Oh.
So again, just for a little bit of context, what had happened in about 2010 is we initially had 3 headquarters: Asia, London, and New York. New York being the global headquarters, and then London being a European, and then there was Tokyo was the Asian headquarters. What it is, they closed down Tokyo operations, and they had London control all of Europe and Asia as the master. So you still have presenters and producers in Asia, in different parts of Asia, Hong Kong, but the actual whole operation would run from London. So sometimes I would direct a show from Asia. The presenters in Asia, the producers, the floor team, the camera guys are all in Asia.
Yeah.
But the actual operations coming from London.
Right.
And we were like, wow, we are running a show in a different part of the world. This is great. This is great technology. Pat ourselves on the back. Little did we know, we were just showing that New York can run everything. So all we did is show that, we can do this. And what do we need London for? We got New York. We can do that, the exact same thing in New York. And basically, that's what happened. They closed down the London operations, so all of the global operations now would just come from New York. And rather than having all these different studios set up and all these extra costs, you just have people working all the way through the night. So you have different shifts, so that people are working the Asian time zone, but from New York. And you can still have presenters there, but you just didn't need all of the infrastructure, all of the studio, all of that tech resources. So I got made redundant, and I guess I struggled because although I'd done well within the company and I'd progressed, when you've come from a staff position, you step out into the freelance world. First of all, as a director, there's very rarely staff positions.
Got you.
So often, yes, if it's a news show, if it's a news broadcaster, yes, or a sports broadcaster, yes, and sometimes you get kind of daytime shows. So if it's a kind of show where the show happens every single day of the week, you'll often have a staff director. But if it's an entertainment show and you might have a series, then you don't have a staff director. Like directors get called in when a show gets commissioned.
Got you.
So I struggled to find many opportunities, and even when they already had staff directors. They weren't looking for anybody. Freelance people didn't. Once they wanted to see what shows I'd done, and I couldn't say I'd done any shows. Even though I felt I've got I've done outside broadcasts. I've gone to Switzerland. I've done shows with 15 to 17 cameras. I've used all these different types of show, really big challenges. I've learned all of the fundamentals of broadcast. Nobody cared. Nobody wanted. So I wasn't getting even responses to emails or anything when I'm saying, listen, I'd love to come in. Nothing. So it kind of took me like 3 to 4 months. So I had to go sign on. I kept literally and I was like, I'm going to have to look at a different career because I'm not getting any options at all in TV. No one's responding. No one's giving me any. I don't know people. I don't have contacts.
So you really started from the foundational point, despite the fact that you had the toolkit.
Yeah.
It just wasn't a transferable toolkit in terms of where you were. Well, it wasn't a transferable toolkit for the recruiters on the other side.
Yeah, and I think there's 2 parts to it. A was kind of know-how, so I didn't know, and it might be if I knew the specific correct people to ask, it might have helped, or if I had some contacts.
Yeah.
But equally, that just at the time, people didn't. It's like they just didn't have any. Working for Bloomberg, doing Bloomberg shows didn't seem to have any validation for as a director, because people didn't really watch it and people didn't really know it. So that's where kind of like alongside it, I was doing my football coaching license, my football license. So I'd done my FA level 2, and I was doing my UEFA B. And with some of my redundancy money, I thought, well, listen, I'm gonna get my UEFA B license. And I'd been coaching anyway. I'd been coaching some non-league teams. London Colney I'd coached, and and also I was coaching at Lecture of Garden City as well. So and I was enjoying it, and I was doing, and I guess I was doing okay. And I thought, listen, let me try and pursue this. And in doing on that journey, I was able to kind of get into some pro clubs and work with some of their younger teams and see some of their coaches, training, that kind of stuff. So I thought maybe this is a route I'd take. And just fortunately, after about 4 months, a door opened at Sky Sports. Ironically, it's the person who recruited me for Bloomberg had left Bloomberg, moved to Sky News, or moved to Sky News. He was one of the people I'd contacted.
Yeah.
And he said, I'm going to forward your CV to the senior director at Sky Sports News, because I'd said to him, I'd love to be able to do some sports stuff. And he kind of he opened the door at Sky Sports, and I started doing some bits at Sky Sports, and then and then again shortly after that, one of the directors who had come in as a freelancer when I was at Bloomberg was the series director on Big Brother, and one of the house directors, it was called at the time, so reality directors, was pregnant, couldn't do a series, and he'd seen me work, and he says, Jan, are you able to come in and cover this role?
Yeah.
So literally after 4 months, all of a sudden I had 2 freelance contacts, and I guess for about 2-3 years, they were the only freelance contacts I had. So I just did those 2, and for me it was about doing as much of them as I possibly could.
And how many of those did you do each?
So in the end, I did 8 series of Big Brother and Celebrity Big Brother combined. I think it was maybe 6 celebs and 2 long Big Brother. So a Big Brother series about 12 weeks.
Okay.
Celebrity series is about 6 weeks. And then with Sky Sports, I was working with them from 2013 till 2018. And I think probably 2014, I was probably on average there 4.5, 5 times a week. So it was close to being there full time. So which was great, and it really helped kind of like me get to know people within that sector and start to build relationships. And then fortunately after doing Big Brother, I got contacted from ITV, who were doing this new series, which was a bit like Big Brother but different. It was going to be in Mallorca. It was going to involve kind of like younger people. And that was Love Island. So I was again, just my Big Brother experience. I was transferred that over to a different type of format, which was Love Island, which again ended up not being quite like, yes, elements like Big Brother, but quite different in the way that we shoot it and the way that we filmed it as well. And then a couple of years doing that. Again, ITV also do I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here, and it was like, right, can you come in and do that? I ended up being the series challenge director on I'm a Celebrity, get me out of here, the senior director on Love Island. And in between that, also doing shows like 24 Hours in A&E, 24 Hours in. So I really became like, I guess, a bit of an expert in the rigged type shows.
Got you.
Where it's reality. You're not writing scripts. You're not really dealing with actors or talent.
Yeah.
You're dealing with situations that are going to happen, and you don't fully know what's going to happen, but you have to be able to cover it. And I guess I thrived on that. And again, there was elements of that I could take from even doing live with Bloomberg. You don't know when breaking news is going to happen.
Yes.
You don't know when you're live if someone's all of a sudden going to die.
Yeah.
Like, these things happen if the markets are going to crash.
Yeah.
So you've got to react to it live there on air. So I think there were elements within me that I've always been ready for the unexpected, and I've always had a bit of a buzz from that. And yeah, those I guess those shows kind of took me up to kind of like 2016, maybe 2017. I think the last Love Island I did was in 2018. And I guess ultimately it was I was doing these shows and I felt I was doing okay. But if I'm honest with you, none of these shows were shows that I watched myself. Yeah. Yes, I'd seen Big Brother when it first came out in I think 2000 when I was much younger. The family watched it, but none of these things I watched and I really engaged with personally, even though I kind of liked working on them and that kind of thing. So I thought, well, I've done all these different. Can I start doing projects that I actually can connect with, that I can affect a bit more, and I'm actually like really enjoying what I'm doing. And I think that's kind of like from 2019. That's really where my focus.
Yeah, I think all of those. Not to move on quickly, but I think it's important to acknowledge the scale of the shows that you've been a part of. I think especially for British culture in general, when it comes to TV, some of those shows that you've listed have shaped so much of how we kind of watch TV, engage with entertainment now. Growing up, a lot of the time we watch shows like Blind Date, like Tonight Matthew, I'm going to be Stars in Your Eyes.
Stars in Your Eyes.
Oh, that is a bad boy show. That needs to come back. That is a bad boy show.
That was great. I remember that was proper Saturday.
Yeah. Before Ant and Dec's Takeaway, before all of that, it was Blind Date, tonight, Saturday night. What's it called again? What did I just say it was?
Stars in Your Eyes.
Stars in Your Eyes.
But you watched before?
Yes.
Gladiators.
What? Gladiators is another bad boy show.
Yep.
It's like, I think what those shows did is put real life people into the eyes of real life people.
Yeah.
So like working with real life talent in that way. I think what will be helpful now is just to pinpoint some of the names of the shows that you worked on post 2019. So in a very top level way, what are some of those shows that you felt like, do you know what, the shows that you wanted to connect with more, the shows that you felt like you could impact more, XYZ?
I guess the first one would have been, what was the first one? I thought, this is me. It may have been, I think it might have been Day in the Life with WizKid.
Mm-hmm.
Might not have been the first one, but definitely one of them. Day in the Life with WizKid, again, for me, luckily, it was reality mixed with live entertainment and music. My brother was in music whole career. Entertainment is what I do. And I guess anyone who knows me, any scenario I'm in, I want to make it entertaining. And then reality is, I guess, really where a lot of my core skill and a lot of experience was. And it was putting all of that together. So I think A Day in the Life of WizKid. Did a show called Tonight with Target again, which that was in lockdown. And again, I think that kind of, again, a lot of the artists who were on that show, artists I grew up listening to, were the same kind of age, and some who were younger. So the work sometimes didn't feel like work in terms of the prep and stuff, because I'll be listening to their music anyway. Again, a lot of it's top of my playlist, so there's that there. There was, I think I did Bridgerton season 2 premiere this year, and again it's for me it's a series that was quite groundbreaking. Is it necessarily the exact type of series that I've watched? Maybe not. But it's something I did watch season 1. I could connect with it for sure. Which was great. Commonwealth Games did the closing ceremony this year. Again, sport meets entertainment meets music meets stuff. So for me, it was fantastic. And I just finished doing the Global Citizen in Ghana as well. Fantastic experience out in Ghana. Again, music, live entertainment, performance. So yeah, I'm sure I've missed at least 1 or 2. I've done some Formula 1 stuff as well, so I've done a few Formula 1 shows and that, which again is great. And I guess with Genesis Media Productions as well, we obviously launched the Mercedes car as well, and I direct that. So again, it's a real opportunity to be kind of creative from the outset and working with brands as well. So yeah, there are a few.
There are a few. Epic stuff. Epic stuff.